Okay, this is the second of two videos on using the calendar tool and the Multiply web app. This was designed, this video is designed basically to show you how to edit meeting elements or a custom meeting that you may want to set up. And so I'll demonstrate that by just setting up on August 26th another youth meeting night. And it's a Wednesday night at 6:30. And when I click on next step, I have the opportunity to select lesson and drag and drop one of my redeemed lessons onto that module or onto that calendar date, or I can use the button, I will use a custom lesson. And for the sake of this demo, I'm going to click that and show you what to do and how to do it when you're trying to create a specialized lesson. Maybe something that's burning in your heart that you want to share, or it's a special emphasis week like grading up for the new year, as I shared earlier in the earlier video. So we're going to generate the calendar. And now on the 26th, I have a custom title. So what you would do to create something for your leaders to have in their hands on their mobile app is you basically would have the ability to come in and use the edit icon to give this a custom description. And this one's going to be the Rise Up. And the description is going to be upcoming So we're going to have a ministry launch night where our upcoming 7th graders join us for the first time. And so this is where you have now two screens, where you have the custom lesson content that would kind of be parallel to our student handout with underline and bold for those points of the lesson that you'd like to have your students have as a handout, or they might emphasize something that you'd like for your leaders to be able to stress in small group. Your small group guide would be more appropriate for that. And let's just do a few and bullet these and talk about custom questions or small group guide things that you want to enter. Is to have every student in your small group introduce himself. I don't know if that's a good idea, but let's just say we're going to do that. Ask every student if they have their quiet time. Anything you want to do to instruct your small group leaders, because again, your small group guide and your lesson outline that you would use would normally come in when you used a Word of Life lesson already preloaded. And so here you have this special meeting night. It might be parents, there might be parents there, and you might have special emphasis, but you still want your rest of your leaders to know what's going on. So here's the way you can do that to customize a lesson that you have on your heart that you want to stress. Again, in the details for custom lesson, you might provide a few bulleted points that are from your text of scripture you're using. You could also put in the notes section, invite parents to sit in and join in prayer. This is just whatever you choose, and it's customizable so that you can create a custom lesson in the midst of all that you're doing. Obviously, you have to update the event, and when you do, what happens now is that when your leaders log on for August 26th, they'll see the highlighted icon that says we have a meeting date coming up. When they click on that, they will see the small group guide that you've entered, and they will see the custom lesson bullet points, whatever you've entered there, and whatever custom instructions. So let me go out now to the second major part of teaching and training how to use this calendar for detail. Now that you've scheduled your yearly planning, you've dropped and dragged and dropped all of your lesson nights on the calendar. Now you come back and it's the 23rd of August and you're having your leaders meeting, let's just say and you want to have all leaders present where you can kind of brainstorm what can we do with each of the successive lessons that are coming up. And so what we're going to do is we're going to plan for September the 9th, for instance. We've already, or any of these dates actually, just click on one of them. And when you do, again, you have the opportunity to look at what small group guide looks like. This is preloaded from a Word of Life lesson. There's the outline that the students would have in a handout if you printed it and gave it to them. And what you would do is you're at your leader planning meeting, and now you start to add elements. So you click the pencil icon, which gives you the edit screen. And as you'll notice, these meeting elements have already been entered, but I'm going to show you what you would do if you choose to start with this as a planning element. You're sitting there at your meeting, maybe someone's taking notes or you're walking through it, brainstorming as you go. All you need to do is click Add Meeting Element, and this is customizable. What is the first task that you generally have in your meeting nights at 6:30 p.m.? Ours is Icebreaker. And what you want to do is you want to tab over and assign that to one of your leaders. If you had somebody that was going to take care of this that was not part of your normal team, you have the opportunity to click on Other and write in someone else's name right here. And then when you're done with that, you click Add Meeting Element, and it'll drop down for another task. And so after our Icebreaker, we typically do announcements. And we try to make them innovative and creative, and so we give this one to Nicola because she can handle it. And then the next one is adding another meeting element, which we're going to do Take 5 for the cause, which is part of our emphasis on sharing the gospel, and our leaders know how to do that, so we're going to assign that to Dwight. He's going to lead our students for a few moments on that. And then we're going to have our music set or worship, and that's going to be done by a custom group that we're going to call the student band. Maybe you do have that. Maybe you're going to assign it to a leader. That's your option. And then finally, we're going to have the lesson, and that's going to be taught by our youth pastor. In this case, let's say it's Abner. He's going to teach the youth lesson. Now, we've created all this. You can create anything else you want. Before I click Update, you might want to ask, is there anything we want to assign to small group leaders? If you do, you would add another meeting element. You click in Task, Small Groups. You would use Custom. Most likely that's not something you would do because the small groups typically follow your lesson anyway, but you update it. Now, the one thing you might want to do as well is if you have details about any of these elements, the only place to enter those details would be here. So let's just say for the sake of argument that this lesson is about some theme night. So I forgot the title of the lesson, but let's say the theme is going to be military, and you ask everyone come military fatigues or something of that nature. Whatever special instruction that you want for your leaders to have, because whatever you put in this screen, they will have. Let me spell it right. And then maybe for small groups, you have a special assignment. This is simply your role as an administrator or a key leader to try to make sure that they have reminders where they need them. And if you update that, when you click out of here and they come into their mobile app for this particular lesson, they should see these notes. They would be able to verify who's responsible for each of the details of the lesson, including the icebreaker all the way down to the music and even the lesson. And so everybody's informed. Instead of having a paper sheet or writing notes to themselves, they have it right there in their phone app. And so we would encourage you to use the calendar not just for your yearly planning of teaching schedule and special events, but on a month-to-month basis or every 6 weeks at least. Take this out when you go to your planning meetings and drop in all of these specific details. Um, you can provide as much detail in the notes section as you want. For instance, the specific icebreaker that's going to be used, or the specific sharing time that you might want to use, or the song set, anything that you want your leaders to know, so no one's going to be flying blind. They can have all that in the web app, or excuse me, the mobile app, because you've entered it here on the website. So that basically covers the rest of the calendar for your use as an administrator or key leader using the Multiply web app.